George, you're literally directly related to a Palestinian. George, the fuck is wrong with you? Ever Hannibal doctrine implemented in the American military.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's talk about the president's comments overnight, talking about taking the oil on Karg Island. How would he do this? Why would he do this? Won't it take ground troops?
Well, first of all, it's important to remember the objectives of this operation from the very beginning. We are destroying Iran's Navy. We are destroying their ability to their missile launchers by a significant percentage. We're going to wipe out their defense industrial base, meaning their ability to make new missiles and new drones in the future, because it poses a great threat to the region. This Iran that you're seeing now, this is Iran at its weakest point. Imagine them 2 years from now if they had thousands of more missiles, thousands of more missile launchers and factories to make even more. That was an unacceptable risk. It needed to be addressed, and President Trump is addressing it. Now, they are making threats about controlling the Hormuz Straits in perpetuity, creating a tolling system and the like. That's not going to be allowed to happen. And the president has a number of options available to him if he so chooses to prevent that from happening. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss what those options are, and we're not going to discuss military tactics. The Department of War would be in charge of those things. I'd refer you to them, but obviously they're not going to discuss it with you either. But there is a way forward here to achieve our objectives. We are going to achieve our objectives in a matter of weeks, not months.
Well, but let's talk about taking the oil, because the president laid out that objective last night. And taking the oil will take ground troops, won't it?
Well, again, the Iranians are threatening that they're going to set up some permanent system in the Straits of Hormuz where they get to decide who goes through international waterways. That will never be allowed to happen. By the way, the rest of the world should take note of that. They have more at stake there than we do. We get very little of our energy in this country coming through the Straits of Hormuz. The rest of the world gets a lot more. That said, the president has several options at his disposal, and the Department of War is preparing optionality.
I think it's really funny that they keep repeatedly saying over and over again, yeah, I know we f***ed up the Strait of Hormuz, but like it doesn't even impact us. It's like, yeah, everybody else understands that. First of all, it doesn't impact, it still does have an impact because it has an impact on the global oil prices. So it does impact people at the pump, as it has been. But even outside of that, you're basically telling the rest of the world, yeah, we f***ed up the Strait of Hormuz and we're not even suffering the consequences. How do you think that's going to read for a global hegemon? It's pure cope to think that like other countries are not aware that, yeah, American supply is not being disrupted in the same way that like, you know, Thailand is, in the same way that the Philippines are. But what you're failing to consider when you say like this is that you're telling all your vassals around China that you have developed through soft power initiatives, a long-standing security cooperation, that you don't give a fuck about them. And sure, most likely the leadership that were in line with these American security cooperative agreements were aware that you don't give a fuck about them. But now you're making it undeniable to the populations. What kind of resentment do you think that will create? This is why I kept repeatedly saying, in the absence of soft power, 800 military bases turn into 800 different military invasions. And no country has the capacity to fight 800 different wars all around the world at the same time. It turns out America doesn't even have the capacity to fight against Iran and protect its regional partners. We've found out the hard way. Right? We're learning that lesson. Well, I guess these guys are just denying that lesson even exists, but at least like sober analysis requires you to come to terms with that lesson. Bro, holy shit, bro. L take, please Hasan, bro. Wait, it's the same guy. It's the gangy guy. By the way, it's been 30 days, and this guy comes in every time. he still comes in and he's still like, nah, dog, the war effort's going so good. Contingency plans, gangy. He's back. I wish I had confidence in anything. Like anything at all. I wish I could believe in anything as much as this guy believes in American military superiority at a time when America is like so clearly showing its limitations. My job as an analyst, as a commentator, is to show you the reality. There is a reason why, every single day that passes by, I have been further vindicated. Do you honestly believe in the U.S. isn't winning militarily in this current conflict right now? Bro, I want to know what kind of crack you're smoking. I need to know what you're, because this is a new kind of crack cocaine, I think. Okay? This is a totally new type of crack that I don't think other people have ever smoked before. Brother, the Strait of Hormuz is currently controlled by a country that we've been able to economically dominate for the last 50 years. Okay? The country whose capabilities that we supposedly attrited is still taking pot shots, destroying American military hardware to the tune of like $600 million, like the AWACS plane that they just blew up in Saudi Arabia, in a faraway base in Saudi Arabia, mind you. Okay? They're still in, America's still incurring casualties in places like Kuwait as of yesterday. They're literally having they're having more success in striking Israeli targets. Iran's capabilities have not diminished. That's just what America has lied, and that's just a lie that America has told, basically, the rest of the world, and so is Israel. And you're over here refusing to recognize the reality on the ground. What the fuck? The Strait of Hormuz is closed still. Iran is controlling it. They're applying a toll to any country that passes. And it's such a bad state of affairs that America, the American government, has to literally lie and make it seem like they were the ones who got the assurance from Iran to allow Pakistani oil tankers to cross through. They lie and say American escorts will escort the Pakistani oil tankers. That's not even the case. It's actually the Iranian Navy that's supposed to be destroyed. If we weren't winning, we wouldn't be controlling the skies and bombing Tehran daily. The Iraqi army performed against these motherfuckers in 1991 during the air campaign. Wait, what? If you controlled the skies, they wouldn't be taking out MQ-9 Reaper drones with regular frequency and simultaneously had not been able to down a F-35 and an F-18. By this guy's logic, we won Vietnam. Yeah, this is like the classic. My favorite type of like American war lover who says like, well, technically we actually won Vietnam and Afghanistan. We could have gone way harder if we wanted to. It was just wokeness that stopped us. This man is the perfect guy for Pete Hegseth, like a perfect. It's just he's leaning into hopes and dreams. I mean, look at this. Look. Iran carried out a deception in the skies over Dubai, costing the United Arab Emirates around $100 million. Iran allegedly launched missiles equipped with flare decoys, prompting air defenses in Dubai to fire hundreds of interceptor missiles unnecessarily. I don't know if this is like Chinese or whatever. I don't know if this is more evidence of Chinese technology at work. I don't know why Ryan is saying that, but Chatter is committed to the Hermann Goering doctrine that you can win wars with air power only. Clearly, it's an effective strategy. Yes. He's making a joke about fireworks. Oh. Philip DeFranco just dropped Hassan Piker versus the Democrats. Yeah. I know. I gave him an 18-minute interview as well. In the middle of it all. 47 minutes, about to be filled the 45-minute Philip DeFranco. We're both blessed and cursed. It's been so long. Murat about to skip that video? True, he will. Anyway, we'll watch it in a second. Let's keep monitoring the situation.
For the president for this and various other contingencies that might arise. That's what always needs to happen in situations like this. But what I want the American people and the people watching this broadcast to know is that fundamentally what this is about is the destruction of their Air Force, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their Navy, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their factories that they make all these weapons with, which is we're well on our way to achieving, and a substantial reduction in the number of missile launchers that they have so that they cannot continue to threaten their neighbors in the future. All of those objectives are being met on or ahead of schedule, and should be able to achieve in a matter of weeks.
As you're speaking, though, the president is expanding the objectives. Just a couple minutes ago, he put out a post on Truth Social saying that we're in discussions now with a new and more reasonable regime in Iran, but he also added that if those discussions don't yield fruit, the United States will blow up and completely obliterate all of their electric generating plants, all their oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalinization plants, which we have purposely not yet touched, is what he said. That's a great expansion of the objectives.
Well, I think the first point the president makes is he prefers diplomacy. As I said, those efforts are nascent. There is messages being relayed back and forth, some conversations going on, including through intermediaries, and he always prefers that. Look, if the Iranian regime had come forward at any point in the past and said, we're going to walk away from our nuclear ambitions, we're going to do nuclear energy the way every other country in the world, primarily, almost every other country in the world does it, and that is through a peaceful means. And
they did! Okay, George, come on. Please, bare minimum, basic journalistic function here. Please. Please. You will be a legend. I don't know. I'm not assuming he's not going to do that. But damn, if he doesn't do that, he is literally the worst. Oh my God.
Bring in the fuel and it's supervised and so forth. We're going to stop supporting terrorist groups across the region. Look at this region. Every single terrorist group in this region.
No, you have to stop him. You have to stop him. No, you have to go. They did do that twice. And we engaged in perfidy twice. Okay? Please. Actually, as a matter of fact, not only did they do that twice, technically, you could say that there was success. It was called the JCPOA. Barack Obama advanced it. Iran followed through on it. It was a multilateral commitment, including China and Russia. And Trump ruined it the first time around.
Region has a link to the Iranian regime. Every single one. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Shia militias that are attacking everyone out of Iraq. Every single one of these groups and all the destabilization in this region tracks directly back to the Iranian regime. Those things have to be addressed. And if Iran had been willing to address those in the past, we wouldn't be having this interview on this topic right now. Their refusal to do so and their continuing move towards one day acquiring a nuclear capability, these people are lunatics. They are insane. They are religious zealots who can...
Nothing? We're just going to let him chirp?
Never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon because they have an apocalyptic vision.
Bro, this is not journalism. You're no longer even a stenographer at that point. You're just an organ of propaganda. You're literally just like allowing him with zero pushback whatsoever. You're not even editorializing it in your own way.
In the future, and all of their neighbors know that, by the way, which is why all of their neighbors have been supportive of the efforts we're conducting.
You call them lunatics, but the president just had this post where he says we're in discussions with a new and more reasonable regime. Let me try to pin you down on that. Who is this new and more reasonable regime? Is the United States in?
That's your takeaway? You're not even going to address what he said. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, this is the type of... First of all, this is Good Morning America. It's ABC. It's not even CBS. But, like... Dude, this is... I mean, you're doing a disservice to your audience. Like, you are straight up doing a disservice to your audience. You're doing a disservice to the profession in general. You can't let him sling all that shit. Like, you're not gonna actually hold him to account. That would look really good for George, by the way. That's what's so crazy about it, because, like, this is beneficial for George. George cutting Marco Rubio in that moment and saying, hey, I have to stop you there. You said these guys didn't want to deal with the United States of America and denuclearization, this is actually contradicted by the information presented by numerous mediators that were involved in the denuclearization talks last time around, including a British official, including the foreign minister of Oman, who wrote a piece and actually went on NBC's Sunday shows to basically say that Iran was abiding by maximalist denuclearization arguments that America was presenting. Rubio would say they're lying because terrorists lie. Hey, notice how I didn't bring up Iran here? I said British envoys, British mediators, Omani mediators. The reason why I brought that up is because there is a way to counter this narrative. This is another one of the things that's like been endlessly frustrating for me is like the crowning accomplishment. Obama loves his legacy, right? He loves defending his legacy. That's why he brings up the ACA all the time. Obama's signature accomplishment in terms of foreign policy was both the Cuba deal and Iran, the JCPOA. He accomplished that, and that was actually a spectacular move in the right direction. And if I was in his shoes, I'd be nonstop defending that shit. I'd be like, look how much Donald Trump is up. It doesn't make any sense.
Direct contact with them?
Well, I'm not going to disclose to you who those people are because it probably would get them in trouble with some other groups of people inside of Iran. Look, there's some fractures going on there internally. And at the end of the day, I think that if there are people in Iran who now, given everything that's happened, are willing to move in a different direction for their country, that would be great. Imagine in Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you'd have a much different country. So we are always hopeful that that would exist over there. It's unfortunate. The people of Iran are incredible people. The people who lead them, this clerical regime, that is the problem. And if there are new people now in charge who have a more reasonable vision of the future, that would be good news for us, for them, for the entire world. But we also have to be prepared for the possibility, maybe even the probability, that that is not the case.
Well, but the president said they are. Is that the case or is it not? I'm just trying to get some clarity on that.
Well, what I mean is, yeah, so you have people over there that are saying some of the right things privately. Obviously, they're not going to put it out in press releases, and what they say to you or put out there for the world doesn't necessarily reflect what they're saying in our conversations. But at the end of the day, we have to see if these people end up being the ones.
Oh, you got secrets. You see, it kind of seems like we're destroying the entire globe's energy production and its entire agricultural output. But a lot of people are secretly super on board. The fuck do you think someone in Thailand has to do with Iran? Why the fuck would anybody in Thailand or anybody in the Philippines be like, oh, thank God, dude. Thank God you literally destroyed our entire energy exports, our entire energy imports by blowing up Iran alongside Israel. We love that. Thank you, sir. Like, American exceptionalism has obviously served the American population for a long time because it was uncontested. Like, American military might was uncontested. Now that it's being contested in spectacular display, these guys still keep running around with this ass attitude. Like, the fuck you gonna do about it attitude. They designed a new world order. They said its might is right. And now, thinking that, you know, no one else was going to come in and say, all right, bet. If might is right, if might makes right, we got might too. Right? You were just on CNN? Wait, really? I highly doubt. If anything, Jake Tapper, you're going to have a segment on Jake Tapper this hour? Yeah, he's probably going to cook me. He's probably going to yell at me, which I think is going to backfire on him.
In charge, seeing if they're the ones that have the power to deliver. We're going to test it. We are hopeful that that's the case. There are clearly people there talking to us in ways that previous people in charge in Iran have not spoken to us in the past. Some of the things they're willing to do, some of the things they're saying they're willing to do. Obviously, they have to go do it. We're going to test that proposition very strongly because we always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy. But we also have to be prepared for the fact that that effort might fail, that we are dealing with a 47-year-old regime that still has a lot of people involved in it who aren't necessarily big fans of diplomacy or peace.
And if it fails, the war expands?
Dude, come on, George, you're literally directly related to a Palestinian. George! What the fuck is wrong with you, man? George! There's one party that is not invested in diplomacy. It's the American government. What the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you letting him get away with this lie? Up until this moment, okay, up until these last 30 days, Iran kept leaning into diplomacy over and over and over again. And what did it get in return for that? Bombs. It got bombed. What are we talking about? The idea that Iran was not invested in diplomacy, but America is so fucking stupid. Who's he related to? George Stephanopoulos has like what is her name? It's like sister something. I forget. She's like a very famous Palestinian woman. Tucker Carlson has interviewed her before. Sister Agapia. Yeah. Agapia Stephanopoulos. Doesn't she live in Palestine or something? Or I think it's not even his sister. I think it's his relative by marriage or something. I don't know. I don't know the full details, but like she lives in the West Bank. She's like a religious figure that lives in the West Bank. And Tucker Carlson has actually interviewed her quite a bit. Mother Agapia Stephanopoulos. Oh no, she's Greek by blood. She lives in the West Bank. Or used to live in the West Bank, and now she lives in New York.
What's that? I'm sorry?
If it fails, the war expands?
Well, the war is about this operation, okay, and that's what this is. It's about very specific objectives. The president laid them out on the first night of the operation. I'll repeat them to you now because I hear a lot of talk about we don't know what the clear objectives are. Here they are. You should write them down. Number one, the destruction of their Air Force. Number two, the destruction of their Navy. Number three, the severe diminishing of their missile.
Yeah, we watched this part where he just like starts flubbing. Anyway,
Biker situation's gotten crazy as Democrats are divided and don't know what to do about him, and so we asked him. 8 million people marched against him as Trump didn't show up to CPAC and his approval just hit 36%. In every Trump-Iran debate, he belongs in the party. Where you're seeing